Brought to you by Gamivo.com. Get the cheapest game time on the market, as well as other Warcraft products. Check out the link in the description below. Demon Hunters were one of the most crucial weapons that we've had against the Legion. They have sacrificed the most and have undergone such critical missions that without them Azeroth could have fallen against the Burning Legion. But now with Sargeras imprisoned and the demonic army shattered, what exactly is the purpose of Demon Hunters, and will they continue to exist? The first ever Demon Hunter was created 10,000 years ago during the War of the Ancients, and that was Illidan Stormage. It was revolutionary at the time and was the definition of fighting fire with fire. Some other demons were said to have also been created during this period, but the majority that we have today only came to be quite recently, sometime before the Burning Crusade. Night Elves sought out Illidan as well as the Blood Elves, as both had lost so much during the Third War. Having nothing to go to, no home or family, they decided to devote their entire lives to fighting demons and avenging their fallen. Of course, this was no easy task, as they had undergone horrific rituals, and no sane person would do this unless they had absolutely nothing to lose, like literally nothing to lose. 1 in 5 elves would survive, and the rest would either be overwhelmed by the demonic energy, or they would just go completely insane and would commit suicide. However, those that survived were enhanced to a significant extent, becoming incredibly powerful, and not just powerful, but more importantly specialized to kill and take down demons 10 times their size. They consume a demon, which empowers them, but at the same time this process creates this eternal struggle within their mind. Demon Hunters gain spectral sight, seeing and detecting demons better, they have superhuman speed, reflexes, they can fly for a short period, and they gain horns, scales, and claws. At the same time, there are many drawbacks, as they're constantly under the threat of going insane, and much like the Death Knights that have a sadistic need to constantly kill something, Demon Hunters have a craving for fell power and demonic flesh, creating this non-stop state of torment. Overall, they're the most effective demon killers out there, and they're one of the top reasons why we even managed to defeat the Burning Legion, which is evident by the fact that their leader Illidan is now the jailer of Sargeras. But as we're now going into the Shadowlands, and we have ended the faction conflict in Battle for Azeroth, Legion just seems so far away, the demonic army has been broken, so what exactly is the point of Demon Hunters? What are they doing now, and are they still created to this day? Well, from a blunt gameplay perspective, Blizzard is kind of just keeping them around, and they're in a similar spot that Death Knights have been until the past few expansions, when they had finally received some new lore. Still, it is very important to note that while the Burning Legion has been defeated and Sargeras imprisoned, we haven't exactly destroyed the demons. They definitely still exist, and exist they do in large numbers. Keep in mind, Sargeras found the demons, he didn't create them, and they have been around long before the Dark Titan had ever gone insane. All he did was organize them into a very powerful weapon, created a sophisticated structure and enhanced them, so with his imprisonment they had lost that power framework, scattering them everywhere. My speculation though is that there is now a large power vacuum with the demons. These guys have been a part of an army and have been trained for countless millennia, literally just destroying worlds and races, so they're definitely no longer just brutish bandit demons. There must be many local warlords that are now fighting for supremacy and that are attempting to reform the Legion. Now, without a titan like Sargeras and the engine they had, the demons of course don't stand a chance to reach their full glory and to continue the Burning Crusade, but honestly, I don't even think they would even want to do that in the first place. Right before the end of Legion, if you watch the cinematics, it was obvious that Kil'jaeden was starting to just get sick of Sargeras and his stupid plans, and it must have been felt across the entire army with all the various ranks.
Everything we have done has been by your design, and all we have to show for it is failure.
Legion was filled with intelligent creatures such as the Dreadlords and the Pitlords, so there is no doubt that there are now some small demonic factions formed and that they might even be working on reforming a larger army or starting to create a new form of Legion. Now, this is where the Demon Hunters come in, and while they broke the biggest threat combined, I'm pretty sure that they're now dealing with these renegade bandit demonic groups, and they're looking to break any resemblance of a power structure. Furthermore, with warlocks messing up and summoning demons, or maybe small groups of demons somehow finding a way to break into Azeroth, I can see the demon hunters as sort of Warcraft witchers taking on contracts to deal with these monsters and to make a living that way. Also, as they possess this non-stop craving to fight demons, like literally it is buried in their mind, this would force them to seek them out and not just kill them in order to survive and to make a few bucks. Lore-wise, they haven't been hugely represented lately, and they sort of seem to be neutral, as after all, demon hunters abandoned their previous lives in order to group up and to fight a bigger threat. However, now there is no doubt that some have returned to their old loyalties, the Alliance and the Horde, although personally I don't really see demon hunters being too interested in wars and faction conflicts. They have sacrificed everything, like literally everything, in order to defend Azeroth, and that was their main goal, and now Azeroth is being threatened once again in a much more serious way than ever before in the Shadowlands. Now, we don't really know what type of energy that magic is and what are its properties, but it is very important to note that the demon hunters are actually half demons. Some are actually even bound to the Twisted Nether and could be resurrected. One thing demons are good at is fighting the void. It is actually the reason why Sargeras even began his Burning Crusade, and his ultimate goal was to defeat the void. Now, it is of course uncertain how effective demon hunters are in this regard, but I can see them being more resilient against the void than almost any other race, well, outside of maybe the void elves or other creatures that utilize the void. Sort of like how the light is especially effective against the undead, I can see the demon hunters being in a similar way in their battle against the void. In terms of whether demon hunters are still created, I honestly doubt it. I'm pretty sure the ritual can actually be replicated, but there just doesn't really seem to be a point to even do so. It is incredibly dangerous and damaging, but before that it was worth it because there was this huge looming legion threat over Azeroth, so people would do whatever it takes. Now there is a new one, but it is not a demonic one, so it wouldn't make sense to become a demon hunter in order to fight the void. It would be sort of like someone becoming a Death Knight on purpose, like literally just killing himself to just get better at fighting. Maybe if that was like the only way, people would do it, but now without the Legion and this demonic threat, I don't really see that happening. It is entirely possible that Illidan will return in some future expansion, as after all he is just a jailer. That entire storyline with Sargeras did feel like there was a lot more left to be told. Maybe at some point in the future the demons will get consumed by the void and the demon hunters would once again be of great use, and then we would literally just begin printing them out in the hundreds and thousands, but at this point I see them as the Warcraft witchers and warriors that have fulfilled their purpose. Thank you for watching. Check out top 10 villains we hope to see in the Shadowlands, and also check out my second channel, Doronsmovies Academy, for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.